Remember that scene in Jurassic Park with T-Rex? I mean, it just looks so real. And I was watching it again the other day, and it got me thinking, what if we could create videos like that with that crazy level of realism, but like without the insane budget and years of work?
Well, you're in luck, because some researchers are working on something that might just make that possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's called MIMO.
MIMO?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm intrigued. Tell me more. What is it?
It's really pushing the boundaries of AI and video in a way we haven't quite seen before.
All right, so walk me through this. What's the big deal with MIMO?
So imagine having the power to create a video, right? But with anyone doing absolutely anything in any setting you can dream up. And here's the kicker, all without needing a film crew, actors, or even those crazy expensive Hollywood studios.
Okay, so you're saying I could shoot the next, like, blockbuster from my basement.
Well, maybe not your basement just yet.
Okay.
But it's getting us closer. The technology is getting us closer.
Right.
So MIMO, what it does is it simplifies video creation by breaking down videos into their essential parts, like the person, the background, and like any objects in the scene.
Okay.
And then it figures out how to manipulate those parts individually.
So is it kind of like those photo editing apps where you can swap out backgrounds or add in cool effects?
Yeah.
Is MIMO doing something similar but for videos?
Exactly. Think of it like Photoshop, but for video.
Okay.
The real breakthrough with MIMO is how it tackles a challenge that's been like tripping up other video editing tools.
And what's that?
It's something called occlusion.
Occlusion.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm drawing a blank here.
Okay, so occlusion, it's all about how objects in a scene might block or overlap each other. So like if you place a coffee cup in front of someone,
Right.
the cup partially hides them, right?
Right.
MIMO excels at realistically understanding and recreating those occlusions, making videos look incredibly convincing.
Okay.
Other systems have struggled with this, making edited videos look kind of clunky or fake.
Ah, I see what you mean. It's those subtle details that really make a difference. Like when you can tell someone just photoshopped themselves onto a beach because their outline doesn't look quite right.
Precisely. MIMO eliminates those telltale signs of editing because it understands the 3D relationships between objects in a scene, even when it's working with 2D footage.
What?
Yeah, it's like it knows how things exist in space.
That makes sense. So how does MIMO achieve this level of realism, especially when things start moving? That's always been a tricky thing to get right with video.
It's all in how MIMO handles movement.
Okay.
So traditional methods treat motion like a series of 2D poses, which can look stiff and unnatural.
Right.
But MIMO uses something called structured body codes.
Structured body codes.
Yeah, imagine it like this. Instead of just moving a flat image around on the screen,
Right.
MIMO understands the 3D structure of a body and how it moves in space.
So it's like those motion capture suits used in movies and video games, but without the need for the actual suit.
You got it. It's like MIMO has X-ray vision, allowing it to understand the underlying structure of movement and recreate it convincingly. This opens up incredible possibilities for creating realistic and complex movements, even with limited source material.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the potential here. This isn't just about swapping backgrounds. It's about creating entirely new movements and actions that look incredibly realistic.
You're catching on,
Yeah.
and we're just scratching the surface of what MIMO can do.
Okay, you've got my inner Spielberg buzzing with possibilities here. But let's talk specifics. The research paper mentioned some pretty jaw-dropping examples of what MIMO can do. What really jumped out at you?
One word, animation.
Oh,
Remember how we were talking about creating anything you can imagine?
yeah.
Figure 5 in the paper shows how MIMO can take a single image, even something like a cartoon character, and bring it to life with like fluid movement.
Hold on. From a single image, so I could take my kids' drawings and turn them into an animated movie.
Think even bigger.
Okay.
Imagine taking a historical figure, right, from a photograph and animating them, like for a documentary.
Wow.
The possibilities are kind of endless. Now, keep in mind, it's not quite Pixar-level detail yet,
Right.
but it's a huge leap forward considering the limited input.
Oh, still mind-blowing.
Okay.
What else caught your eye?
Figure 6 highlights MIMO's mastery over complex movements. So they took intricate pose databases, think like breakdancing or martial arts,
Wow.
and MIMO translated that data into incredibly lifelike human movement. It's like giving anyone the ability to move like a pro dancer or a martial arts expert.
No more awkward wedding dancing for me then. But seriously, That level of control over movement must have huge implications.
Absolutely. Like, imagine athletes analyzing their form in ways never before possible, or physical therapists using these tools for rehabilitation. And it's not just about recreating existing movements.
Right.
It's about the potential to design entirely new ones.
It's like giving choreographers and animators a whole new palette to work with.
Okay, I have to ask about Figure 7. Seamlessly inserting characters into real-world videos sounds like something straight out of a movie magic toolkit.
And this is where MIMO's understanding of occlusion really shines.
Okay.
They were able to place characters into, like, busy real-world scenes, even having them move behind objects convincingly.
Wow.
No more clunky green screen effects. It's like the difference between those old-school Godzilla movies and the photorealistic special effects we see today. So what you're saying is, with MIMO, those telltale signs of fakery could become a thing of the past.
Exactly. Imagine being able to change the background of a scene right after it's been shot, or even replace an actor entirely.
Wow.
It could revolutionize filmmaking, especially for independent creators who don't have access to Hollywood-level budgets.
This is starting to feel less like video editing and more like reality editing.
And that's not even the half of it.
Okay, my head is spinning with all these possibilities. But before I go full-blown fantasy filmmaker, let's bring this back down to earth for a minute. What are the real-world implications of this technology? Like, what might the future hold?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While MIMO itself isn't publicly available just yet, it's a sign of what's on the horizon. We're seeing similar technologies popping up, giving us a glimpse into the future of video.
So it's like the early days of personal computers. We can see the potential, even if the technology isn't quite there yet.
Exactly. And just like those early computers paved the way for the internet and everything we do online today, MIMO could revolutionize how we create and interact with video. Imagine a world where anyone, like with a smartphone, could create, high-quality video with special effects that rival Hollywood blockbusters.
That's a game changer, especially for independent creators and, like, small businesses.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just creating videos. Imagine video games that adapt to your choices in real time, generating unique storylines and environments. Or educational experiences where historical events are brought to life with incredible realism.
It's like blurring the lines between reality and simulation, making learning more immersive and engaging.
Precisely. And while we're on the topic of blurring lines, it's important to remember that with any new technology, especially one as powerful as this, there are important considerations to keep in mind.
You're talking about the potential for misuse.
Yes, like the spread of misinformation through increasingly realistic deepfakes. It's crucial that we develop these technologies responsibly and have open conversations about their potential impact.
Yeah. It's like we're entering a new era, one where we need to be more discerning than ever about the videos we consume and share.
Absolutely, but I'm optimistic. By approaching this technology thoughtfully, we can harness its power for good, unlocking a whole new world of creative possibilities while, mitigating potential risks.
Well said. This deep dive into MIMO has been quite the eye-opener. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface of what this technology could achieve.
Indeed. It will be fascinating to see how MIMO and similar technologies continue to evolve and how they will ultimately reshape the landscape of video creation and beyond.
So, to our listeners out there, we have one final question for you. If you had access to MIMO today, what kind of video would you create? Let your imagination run wild and let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.